So I apply tape so that it doesn't move when I run it through the laminator the first couple times, because it will adhere, but I want to ensure that it doesn't move. So I do like to stick it with some tape. The tape can be a little annoying to get off, but it's not that bad. I've had great success with magazine paper. This Runner's World magazine. I don't know if it's the type of magazine or whatever, but I was using the photo paper for quite a while, and this stuff, when you put it in water, basically just disintegrates. I have one of these cheesy Purple Cow laminators. Not the best, but I'll basically run these through 7 to 10 times or something, and it'll get the job done. It makes some funky sounds because it's, not supposed to take a board that thick, but it works. It was $19 at Costco. So I just keep running it through until it sticks on there. Then I'll dump them in water, let them sit for a couple minutes, and then it just peels off. I'll show you. I ran the boards through the laminator, and they're ready to cool down, and you don't even have to let it sit in there very long before you can start trying to peel it off. And you can even see it already has that, just comes right off. So I'll let that sit for a couple more seconds, and then so I'm using a ML1740 Samsung laser printer. Nothing spectacular. It's actually quite old. So I think anything would work pretty well. And you can kind of get an idea of how good that is. And very little effort involved. And you don't have to worry about it damaging the traces very much. Usually even the tape comes right off. You get an idea of that right there. That is pretty much perfect in my mind. Part of my extraordinarily messy work area. Anyways, usually I will use ferric chloride to etch the boards with just kind of in a big thing of it with a sponge like that. But I saw online, I was looking at different chemicals, and someone just said putting a little bit on a sponge and rubbing it on it constantly. It's just kind of the same thing, except I'm not going to immerse it like I usually would. I'm going to see how well that'll work instead of what I was doing before, where where I usually get pretty good traces when I do it this way. Not with the sponge like this, but immersed with the sponge the other way. But so it's starting to go, as you can see there. Took quite a while though. I'd say more than maybe 5 minutes. But that's still pretty good. So here's the etched board. Turned out quite nice. A couple little things, but as you can see, the type on that is quite small, and it still stayed together. So, anyways, with some acetone, you can take your mask off. This is that board. Turned out pretty good. Pretty nice. It turned out pretty nice. Turned out pretty nice as well. Even the small print was maintained. So I think that was a pretty good board. especially for only having to do it once. So I put on the silkscreen layer in the same fashion that I would the other side of the traces and stuff. Just toner transfer. This side I will probably spray with a lacquer to preserve it, but as you can see, turned out pretty good. To drill out the boards, I've been using my floor model drill press, which probably isn't ideal. I have these micro, I think they're tungsten carbide drill bits, appropriately sized, and I'll use just a piece of junk plywood, tape it down onto the board, and then use this to move the board around as I'm drilling it. Like something better at some point, but this is kind of what I've been using to drill the boards. So here's the board, pretty much drilled. It's a floor model drill press, so it's not perfect. The boards are drilled. I'm going to start populating them with components. So here's the built circuit. Basically there's the main controller interface board, which will be like panel mounted. Got some knobs which will be panel mounted. One's for RPM of the fan, which will be the magnetic stir. You can go all the way up or down, very adjustable. And then this other one is for setting your desired current, which basically determines how quickly you want the ionic silver, colloidal silver, to be generated. So, I just need to get the box ready, put it all in there, and that'll be it. The switches have indicators, so that's power on off. It's yellow in standby mode, which means there's power, but it's not running yet. That turns it on. This is for the stir on and off. Stir on and off. And then that's for the laser on and off. Now, to get everything in the box, I have a CAD printout of the fan mounted on the underside. I'm going to use that, tape it, and drill it. Tape it to the box and then drill it, so I'll have accurate holes for that. So it'll be perfectly centered. And then I also took another one of the board. And the interface board is what I want with these two drill holes. These will be for the knobs, and then here's your switches. So I will also tape that to the face so that I can get accurate holes drilled out for the LEDs, the switches, and the turn knobs. So here's the printout mounted to the box. I center punched the holes, and we'll drill them out now for the fan mount, which is basically the magnetic stir. There you go, get your 4 holes. Alright, so now we're going to work on the stirrer. It's, I don't know if this is legitimately how they do it or not, but I'm using rare earth magnets, a DC 12 volt PC fan from a power supply for a fan. Anyways, basically you just put the magnets on the perimeter. They should stick because of the magnets inside of the actual motor. And I'm going to use a 5-minute epoxy when I'm done, once I figure out where I actually want them, to make it permanent. Anyways, so when you get your flask or your vessel and your stir bar, to test this out, you want to get it close enough. It'll be in the middle, and you want to make sure that it's going to work. So that's proper. That'll work. If you flip one of these over, they'll still stick, but you're going to find that you can't really it won't hold the bar in the middle. It pushes it out to the side. So before you get out the epoxy, you got to get the right orientation of these. Otherwise it won't work very well. See, that'll keep it in the middle. So that's what you want. Now I like to move the magnets a little bit closer to the center. So one thing you could try is hot glue as well. Hot glue will work really well. I'll let that sit for a second. And then I'll push it in a little tighter. The epoxy setting up a little bit, and you can see that it's a little bit more toward the middle, and that should give a stronger hold. On the stir bar. So now I'm going to drill the holes for the interface board, and the switches will basically mount the board to the enclosure, so I won't actually drill any separate holes. I'm going to do that. Just not really much to see, but worked out pretty good. Time will tell, but it should be fairly accurate due to the fact that I was using the same board from the circuit board, so should be pretty accurate. Now I'm going to probably drill on the back 2 holes, one for the DC jack, one in the center for the electrode cable, and then I'm also going to do one on the side for the laser, for the cable for the laser, and then we're going to have to figure out something for a mount afterwards. So this is pretty hard now, almost set up, but on the back side there's going to be some electronics, so I'm using this 3M sanding. It's almost like a carbon filter. You can use whatever you want, even a metal screen. Some zip ties to keep the electronics out of the moving parts of the fan. One thing you gotta do is get a little hole poked in there. And you'll see what I mean. Just go up like that. It'll work real nice. You won't have to worry about screw hardware or anything like that. So there you go. Electronics will be protected. To mount the spin fan with 832 screws, kind of like that. And then to make a spacer, I'm going to use a couple washers on each, because we need some clearance for those magnets. So we need 2 spacers, with washers, and then a nut to lock that in for a post. Alright. see in there. I don't know if you can see. So you do that 4 times. If I was to do it again, I'd, obviously put a connector on this so that I wouldn't have it attached to the board, but I just kind of got lazy with that. Anyways, this will just sit right on the post like that, see? And there's enough clearance, and you'll find that it sticks, so the magnetic stirrer will work as expected. There's enough space in there, and it should be able to, fan should be able to move. But so I'm going to position in the interface. You kind of got to do the knobs first. It's a little tight in this box. It's not too bad. There we go. And there you go. So I'll screw everything down. This is kind of how the box is going to look on the outside. Power, standby, fan, laser. But that's okay. The control board, not the motherboard. It's going to be on the base kind of like this. And this is going to be in here. Kind of like that. So this is going to come out kind of like that. So I'm going to try and attach all that now. Best thing to do first is to get the fan in there. So here's the electronics all inside the enclosure. I think fits really nicely. So here's the initial setup of the generator. Basically hooked up alligator clips to the electrode lead. It's pretty clean in the back. Just kind of hops on here. You can see that the stir bar already sticks kind of in the middle, and that's a good way to center it. Just kind of wiggle it around until it snaps. There's the controls and the knobs and everything. So turn it on. This means standby when it's yellow, and you can turn on the stir, turn off the stir, so you can have it generating without the stir. You can turn on the stir, and then that will, this knob adjusts the speed of the stir bar. It gets very fast, so typically you'll keep it at a lower point. And that's pretty much it. There's also a laser that I'll have mounted over here, and you can turn that on. I don't know if you can see it, but turn that on and off with this switch. So now look at the solution. It's been running for I think maybe 5 hours. TDS meter. As you can see, the electrodes are pretty clean. I haven't cleaned them off at all. About 15 ppm, as you can see. ppm. So I'm going to, this is the laser mount. I'm going to clean up the edges, and basically this is just a custom job on yours. If you build it, you can do whatever you want. But I do have the mounting holes and everything kind of in a CAD file, in the project file. So here's the template for the motor, for the not motor, for the laser mount. Here's the laser mount with the edges cleaned up from the milling machine. So as you can see, it basically fits right in there like that, give or take, but it doesn't have to be perfect. And this is the enclosure, so I can use this as two templates, one for this to drill the holes, and then one for the enclosure for the mounting. Drill out the holes. Make sure you center punch, because even with the paper, the drill bit can drift, and it won't be as accurate. So I'm going to do that now. I can show it drilling maybe a hole. It's kind of a waste of. Here's the other template taped to the side of the control box, generator, where I will be putting the laser mount, as you can see. Center punch. I'm going to go drill that out now, and then that'll almost finish. So here's the generator, and here's the mount for the laser, which came out pretty nice. Basically, it's just going to fit on the side, like so. And there's one more thing that I need to do. Is you need a set screw to lock the laser in place. And there's one more template that kind of just fits right on the side for that hole, which will be tapped for 10-24. Alright, so I'm going to mount this laser mount to the box, and it's a little hard to get in there, so I'm using a magnetic scribe. You can see that. It definitely makes it really easy to do this. And there you have it. Nice laser mount. Okay. So here we are. I got the finished generator. As you can see, the laser mount, and it's running right now. I'm about to test the laser, so you can see that, and you can see it coming through. I was going to put another one over here just to not blind anyone, but I figure people should have enough sense when they're using it anyways. So there you go. It's all integrated.